Today's episode is what to expect when you're not expecting. So, if this pregnancy wasn't planned or you just weren't expecting to need as much support as you want, um, either way, you're not alone. There's lots of people who are in this position. So, today I'll be talking about what a holistic doula does for those who might not know, common myths and misconceptions about doulas because there's so many, and then how I support clients who weren't expecting to be expecting, and some of the common questions kind of around that, or just in general that I get from a lot of people. So whether you're doing this by yourself or navigating with a partner or a friend or just curious about what doulas do, then this is the episode for you. So if this is your first time hearing about doulas, basically it's a non-medical support person who provides physical, emotional, and informational support. The difference with holistic doulas and regular doulas, I take in the mind, body, and spirit of people in addition to all those other things during pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. So I would help you prepare for childbirth during pregnancy. I teach birthing classes sometimes, so whatever that looks like for you, however you want to prepare, I'll teach hands-on support techniques, so like massaging, positions, um, as well as different pain management coping techniques. And then I also teach the partners, if there is one, how to do it so that they feel more involved. And then just teaching people how to advocate for themselves, whether you're giving birth at home or in a birthing center or in a hospital, how to speak up for yourself to kind of take back control and make the experience your own. And then for postpartum, I teach how to take care of a newborn, how to adjust to a new reality, emotional support, and just kind of helping with the big transition of no babies to one baby or first baby to second baby, whatever that looks like for you. But if you weren't planning for a baby, that's a whole other ordeal. Not only are you now expecting a child, but you weren't expecting to expect one. So that's kind of hard for people to wrap their minds around. Like, yes, you have 9 months to prepare, but it's still a lot. If you're like my mom, when she was pregnant with me, she did not find out until she was 4.5 months pregnant because she had just had a baby. I think it was 7 months prior to finding out. So my sister was 7 months and I was 4 months in the womb. So that is, quite a big adjustment, especially because she already had a newborn and not as much time to prepare for the next baby. And sometimes there are like hidden pregnancies. I think they call them a cryptic pregnancy. I don't know the actual medical term for it, but sometimes the baby likes to play hide and seek for a couple months. So I'll first talk about misconceptions with doulas. So a lot of people think that doulas are only for people who want a natural birth or home birth. That is not true. We support any birth, whether it's a planned C-section or hoping for a natural birth, but kind of going with the flow. You don't have to be giving birth at home for a doula to come support you. We'll go wherever you are. So my role is to support your choices, not to judge you, kind of thing. Sometimes people have that fear and then they feel like they don't need a doula. Or people have partners and they're like, I don't need one, but then they actually do. Some partners are very queasy when it comes to birth. Birth is not for everybody. So if you have a partner who's squeamish, totally fine. I got you. And there's no judgment for a squeamish person either. There's a lot of stuff that is to be seen, and it's not for everyone's eyes. I don't mind it, of course. And then lots of people think that doulas replace medical professionals. We absolutely do not. There's no medical training whatsoever. Even if your doula has a medical background, they shouldn't be using it when working with you. Our our main role is to just support you as a human being who's having a child, um, not to check out any doctory things. And even if you're having a baby at home, um, most doulas will not come if you don't have a midwife because they can perform medical things. So we're just professional support people. And then people think if you weren't planning to get pregnant, then you don't need a doula. But I feel like that's kind of where people need one more than if you were planning one, because there's a lot of things that occur. There's a lot of emotions to be had during that time. Even if you were planning, it literally turns your world upside down, especially for women. There's like a bajillion hormones in our bodies that are always doing weird things, especially when it comes to pregnancy. There's like it's a complete shift. Now your brain is trying to take care of the fetus that's inside of you, but also take care of you as the person housing the baby. Um, so we can help you adjust to expecting the baby, and then help you plan what's to be expected when you're having the baby. Um, and as well, helping you to get through feelings that might be negative or not what you were hoping. A lot of people assume, like, oh, I'm having a baby, everybody should be excited, kind of thing. There's lots of feelings of disappointment for people who find out that they're expecting when they weren't planning on it, which is totally fine. It's not uncommon for people to have feelings of disappointment, feelings of worry, feelings of fear. So we kind of help to dispel those and get you through them and teach you how to navigate them properly. Which kind of leads me into the next thought of how I can actually help people when they're not expecting. So um, we kind of help you to process the options that you have. So the first thing is to choose what provider you want, whether it's your OB or your family doctor or a midwife. We can talk about how to choose one, what's the best option for you once you do get through all those emotions of adjusting to having a baby sometime soon. Um, but it's no pressure on like what's the right one. There's no right one. It's just what's best for you. We just kind of give you the options and let you explore and see what one might fit best for you. And then emotional and practical support during the pregnancy. So even if you don't feel ready for majority of the pregnancy, that's okay. We can really get in tune with those emotions, which is why I like doing a holistic way of being a doula, because there's so many emotions to consider. So just kind of helping you get through that. Pregnancy is a lot. So there's a lot of physical things that you can do to prepare. You can buy things, you can build things for the baby, but nobody really talks about the emotional side of it. So as your doula, I could just be helping you emotionally prepare the whole time. Whatever you need, honestly. And then preparing for birth in a way that feels right for you. So like I mentioned, I teach birthing classes. So I could tailor my class to fit what kind of birth you want. So if you aren't doing a hospital birth, I probably won't tailor the class to be like that. I'll probably tailor it to a birthing center birth or a home birth, kind of whatever you need and what feels best to you. Some people don't really want the full class. Some people just want to know only one part of it. Like, how do I get through the contractions? So that might be the entire class. It's really just what you want. And that's another thing I like about being a doula is I can literally do whatever I want and there's no wrong way to do it. Um, And then postpartum support, which is a really big one. Yes, pregnancy. Oh my God, I keep hitting this thing. I hope I'm not destroying your ears in the process. Um, okay, let me pretend I didn't hit that. Okay, postpartum support. So, pregnancy is a lot, but it's one part of creating a family. Postpartum can be up to 5 years. It's not just the first 6 weeks. It's not just the first 6 months. It's not just the first 12 months. It can last forever. Hopefully not. But postpartum is post baby. So, however old the child is, you can still struggle with those feelings a couple years later. So, I help people to prepare for the postpartum experience and what that might look like for them. I go through all the good and all the bad, just because if you don't talk about it, then people are very shocked when it happens to them, especially when it comes to like postpartum depression or baby blues or anything that's a negative feeling. Um, I talk about that a lot with parents who weren't expecting to be expecting. Um, so I'll tailor it to what works best for you as the mom, as the dad, as whomever is going to be in that baby's life. Kind of how to just get through it and different like resources for you to reach out to if you feel like you need extra help. As I said, that we're not medical professionals, but there's lots of resources for people who can help with those types of feelings, whether you're still pregnant or you're in the postpartum period. There's lots of other professionals that can help you out beyond just being a doula. Um, so I'll talk about questions that a lot of people ask me when it comes to expecting when you're not expecting, or just in general. That's a lot of what I do is answering questions and giving information. I would say that's like 60% of my job is answering questions. Um, so, like I mentioned, some people don't think they need a doula if they weren't planning the pregnancy, but it can help you to feel more prepared. Sometimes it helps you get through the feelings faster. Having somebody to kind of just bounce those feelings off of. Sometimes when you talk to your partner about it, they don't really understand, especially if they're not the ones who are actually experiencing the pregnancy. Sometimes they hear you, but they don't really hear you. So just having somebody who really understands from a professional standpoint the ins and outs of pregnancy can be really helpful for people, and that can like be the tipping point for them to accept that they're expecting a baby. Um, and then the same thing with the birth and the postpartum experience. I feel like a lot of people talk about the scary part of birth. So for people who weren't expecting, that's kind of like the number one fear they have is like birth is going to be so scary. I help to kind of get rid of that fear and show them like, yes, it'll be painful. That's a given. Birth and pain kind of go hand in hand, but it can still be beautiful at the same time. It doesn't have to be the worst experience of your life. Birth should never be a suffering experience. So helping people feel prepared helps them feel less worried and anxious going into the birth space. Um, I also help people get through their fears about feeling negative about the pregnancy. So somebody might ask, like, I'm not really that excited about this pregnancy. Is that normal? Am I a bad mom? You're not a bad mom if you're not excited about the pregnancy. Um, yes, creating a life is beautiful, but sometimes it's not beautiful. Sometimes it really sucks. Like, some people might be sick the entire time that they're pregnant. My aunt is an example. All three of her pregnancies, she was sick, and it got worse with each pregnancy, or so I've been told. But I've talked to a lot of people as well who their pregnancy just like wasn't a good experience. It, like physically took everything out of them. So that can kind of make it hard to like really feel excited about the pregnancy. Sometimes there might be something going on inside with the baby that might make you feel worried. If there's any health conditions that might make it hard for you to feel excited about the baby just because you're so worried about what's going on. Um, and sometimes it just happens and you maybe weren't planning to have kids, or you weren't planning to have kids yet, or you wanted to go on a really nice vacation and now there's going to be a baby at the month that you wanted to go, so you can't go anymore. It's totally fine to feel disappointed. Sometimes people feel resentful. It doesn't make you a bad person. We're human beings at the end of the day. Our feelings are our feelings. So it's nothing bad. Don't feel ashamed. Don't listen to people who tell you that you should feel otherwise. You're entitled to how you feel, and that's all okay. Um, which kind of goes hand in hand with the next question. What if I don't want to be a parent, but I just want to give birth? That's kind of like if you want to give the baby up for adoption, or um, you just want to have that experience. Maybe it might be a surrogacy situation, and that's fine as well. There's lots of options for that, and lots of ways that you can explore kind of what that might look like for you. So it's a valid question to have. And like I said, there's birth and postpartum doulas, but there's also fertility doulas and other people who can help you with those types of options. If that's something that you want to talk about, we can kind of help you find who the best support person for you will be. Um, and then another big one, I have no support. What can I do? Are you able to be that support? Absolutely. That is what we do. We can be your entire support system if you need. I've had clients where I work with more than one doula. We partner up, or we kind of create like a big group to make sure that you're constantly supported. For example, if you're a single mom, or your husband works overseas and he can't be there, or whatever the case is, if you don't have a support system, or your family lives overseas, it's just you and your parents here, or like you and your partner, or you have one sibling, and that's kind of all you have, we can definitely help with that. Um, Doulas are flexible in terms of our support. I often tell people it's not a job, it's just like a calling kind of thing. So I'm not just gonna well, sorry, like that sucks for you. You've only paid for 1 month, so too bad. Um, I will kind of tailor to whatever it is that you need. Just because everybody deserves to have a support person, especially when they're having a baby. I don't think anybody should do it alone. Um, Whether you choose to or not, even if you are a single parent, you should still have somebody in your corner, um, just to kind of cheer you on or make you feel, I don't know, warm and fuzzy. Um, and then another big one is, how can I afford a doula if the pregnancy wasn't planned? So, like I said, if you were planning to go on a big lavish vacation and then you got pregnant, maybe you already spent all the money on that vacation that was supposed to happen in 6 months, and now you can't go and you can't get a refund. How are you supposed to afford a doula? Like I said, we're flexible. Sometimes we have sliding scales with our fees. I've offered free support to mothers where I'm like, no, like you really need a doula. Like you should not be doing this alone. Don't worry about the cost. I'll be there, no problem. Sometimes we can offer payment plans. Kind of just depends on like your situation and what you need. So there's no still reach out to a doula. If you want one and you're worried about the cost, like reach out anyways, because chances are somebody can help you. Somebody will be there to help you, because it's a supportive role. So if money is the only thing that's stopping you, then like we can totally work something out. That's kind of the whole point of being a supportive person, is to kind of figure out a way through all the difficult road bumps. Um, so whether you plan the pregnancy or not, you deserve to have all the support that you need. Birth and postpartum is super overwhelming. And a lot of times people focus on the healthy baby and making sure the baby's okay, but then the mom gets overlooked most of the time. still in this day and age, which is really sad. So that's why we're here, to make sure that you're not overlooked and you're not forgotten about and you're cared for. So as your doula, yes, I'm there to help you with your baby, but you're my number one priority. For me, it's mom, baby, whoever else is in the picture kind of thing. Um, Sometimes the mom and dad are like hand in hand, but usually mom's just a little bit above, just because she carried the baby and went through a very big physical change. Um, but again, it's your choice on how you want that to look. Some moms are very concerned about their partners because it's not for everybody to see. So sometimes they panic a little bit. Postpartum is talked about in like the mother's role, but sometimes dads can experience feelings similar to postpartum. So just like being a foundation for families is what we do, especially for families who were not expecting to have a baby. So to finish it off, we support all forms of pregnancy, all plans, planned or unplanned. We provide guidance and no judgment. So if you are somebody who found out that they're expecting when they weren't expecting, feel free to reach out. Even if you don't want a doula, if you just want someone to vent to, we can do that as well. Thanks for being here and listening to me. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and stay tuned for the next one.